G'day folks, Phil here from Camper Trails and Hybrids, and today we will be reviewing the Milenco 900L antenna. So the Milenco 900 antenna is actually made in the UK, and this particular product is quite a well-known brand. It's been shipped across the globe. We've been sent a copy here in Australia, and we're going to be doing a full review on it. We're in an area where at the moment I'm running I'd say an average antenna, and that average antenna is struggling with some channels. So I'm expecting this to actually do really well. So I'll unpack it, we'll set it up, and then I'll run through the outputs and just see how this performs. Okay, so you have the booster. Obviously that's pre-wired with the plug, and inside the pack you have 6 screws. Now these little mounting screws are made for the base. So here's the base, and I'll just bring that close so you can just see where each screw is, and they just go through the mounting base. And then underneath the wires will run through obviously into your TV. So you generally will draw a hole in the top of the van and run that cable through to a point where you're comfortable having, you know, the wiring. So that's that. You do get a coax cable. Now the coax cable isn't big, I will say that. So you may need a bigger one depending on where you're placing. And obviously some vans will already be pre-configured with solar panels and other roof appliances. So just consider that. That's going to be probably the only thing you really need to look at if this doesn't work. And the antenna itself, I've still got it bubble wrapped. But the antenna itself is here. So again, as I say, quite robust and quite a low profile. You can see even with the base, if we look at adding that base to it, it's still quite a low profile, 25 centimeters in fact. And the wire, it's already pre-wired, so not overly difficult to install, folks. We're just going to go through the installation process. I'm not going to bore you with you having to watch me install this. Instead, we'll already have it pre-installed sitting up on the roof, and then we're going to connect it to the TV, and let's see exactly what sort of output we get from this. Stay tuned. Next thing I want to talk to you about is about the coax cable. So the coax cable is quite a short cable. I'd say it's around about 1 meter long. I haven't measured it exactly, but ideally you want to have the antenna sitting almost directly above where that TV is. The shorter the distance, particularly for cabling, the better it is in terms of reception. That's generally the rule when it comes to TV reception. So ideally, you don't want to be running your cables too far. So this cable may suit. If not, maybe you might have to go a little bit longer. But I always suggest buy premium cables. Don't look for cheap cables, because if it's going to drop out anywhere, it'll drop out in the cables. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm just going through the process of tuning the TV. So we just get down to tuner type. It's an antenna, and we'll set to auto scan. We'll just do digital TV for now, and we'll let that run through. So the process of scanning will obviously depend on the TV that you have and you know, the speed of that TV. This is a fairly old TV. It's a Hisense TV, probably about 4 or 5 years old. And this will scan through all of the channels, and then obviously pick up. Now the older antenna that I've got picked up around about a dozen channels. It'll be interesting to see how many digital TV channels this picks up. I'm expecting certainly at least 30. We'll see how we go. You can see that the scanning is still taking place, and it's currently found 36 digital TV channels and 21 radio channels. Once that completes, we'll then have a look at the quality of the image that's coming through here. I've kept the booster on the absolute minimum for this process because I wanted to see what the worst case scenario would be. Obviously, if we pump the booster up, we would expect a stronger signal, but for this instance, we just wanted to run it at the lowest booster level possible. Okay, so scanning's just been completed, and now we can have a look at the picture quality. So currently ABC, we've got a 60% signal strength on the lowest level, and this is in a difficult area. So I'm pretty confident that this would be an antenna that would certainly cover most of Australia. Obviously, it's not going to cover everything, but it's certainly cover most of Australia and for what most people want. Once we determined exactly where we wanted the antenna to be, we started to drill all the pilot holes. So we put the base down, we drilled the pilot holes, and we also drilled the main hole for where the antenna cable would poke through to reach our plug for our booster, and also the antenna outlet for the TV. That was a pretty quick process, and then we just obviously made sure that that base was firm in position. We ran some silicone around it just as a security precaution. We then mounted the top sleeves in. It has two retaining screws that retains the top to the bottom, so that is pretty quick and easy. And then you don't have to worry about spinning the antenna or doing anything like that because it's omnidirectional. That's the beauty of this thing. Also, the profile is such a short profile that it's not going to get in the way too much of overhanging branches and those sorts of things. It's about as high as a standard air conditioner would be on a van. So the process was pretty quick. Plug in the antenna, plug in the booster, fire it all up. Now, we ran this test with the booster at its absolute lowest. We didn't want to influence it too much, so we ran it low, and we wanted to do a comparison against the fold-away antenna that we currently use, and see exactly what sort of amount of work was involved. Now, obviously, with the fold-away antenna, we have to break that up and rebuild it every time that we are on site, and then we have to adjust it based on the signal and the strength. Takes a little bit of work. It's light, it's handy. I'm not going to say anything bad about the fold-away antenna. I actually think it's a good antenna. But why did I want to go to the Milenco 900L? Convenience. It's worth paying for the convenience. So the profile height, the lightweight nature, the omnidirectional, the 38 dB boost, and the quality of the output is astounding. I can see why people are starting to move to this kind of antenna for their vans and move away from the traditional antennas that people talk about and have in the past. So in terms of would I recommend it? Absolutely, I love it, and I'm looking forward to watching a fair bit of rugby league over the next few months. Okay guys, if you have any questions, feel free to hit me up in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe and hit that notification bell, and we'll see you somewhere on the track.